Hey guys, welcome back. I'm super happy to be back with another episode. This episode is really important for you guys because this is something that everyone goes through in their life. So you may be wondering, what is this guy going to talk about today? So today's topic is really important, and you know why I'm saying you that this is really important? It's because this is the reason. It's a breaking point where you'll either make it or you will just gonna lose it. So what is that breaking point? Breaking point means it's a point where you are about to make it, and there is a sense of a place where you might lose it and you may fall back, and eventually it's going to destroy you. So what is that point? What is that thing that is going to make you going to make it or not? What is that factor that decides you? It is called struggle. So the way you look at struggle is what is going to define you. I'm going to say it to you one more time. The way you look at struggle is going to define you. You have to, look at things where, everyone. So imagine, I'm going to talk something that's really important for you today. So I'm just going to explain this with a story. Imagine John Carpenter. He is sitting with his dad, watching a comedy drama and just enjoying. Suddenly, there's a silence, and he turns up to his dad and asks him a question. Dad, what is like when you achieved your dream? What was the first thing that came into your mind? His dad was really astonished because he didn't see that coming. Not at that moment as well, because he understood his son that even though it's a drama and all the other things that they're watching, his son is really curious on an aspect called dreams. And the answer which his dad gave was really an interesting one. He asked him, instead of answering him the question directly, he asked his son, what provoked you? What made you to ask this question? John Carpenter simply said that he is going after his dream, and his dream was to become the best businessman of all time. So John's dad understood that I understand where you're coming from and why you wanted to ask this question. I understand you. But you know what? The first thing that comes into my mind when I achieved my dream was the struggle. John Carpenter was really astonished. He was surprised. He thought that his dad would tell something else, but his dad's answer was struggle. John asked him a question. Dad, why are you saying struggle? You could have said anything, but why did you feel, at that moment, the struggle phase that you went through? His dad said, there would be so many things in your life that could happen. There were, those struggling moments where, the things which I went through was not easy. It is said by everyone, but believe me that it was the hardest. The route was hardest. The path was not defined. There were so many struggles. Professionally, when I started up as a businessman, it was not that easy. From startup to becoming a profound company and taking that to a new level is not easy, and I did it. It is because I always remember the struggle of my childhood, what my parents couldn't afford, what could I do to make sure that you know I will always achieve my dream no matter what. So the struggling phase where I had to go through, that was the moment that is always there in my heart, always. Whenever imagine I would come back from the story to just make you think in a different way. Imagine if I ask you, what is that? Everyone would tell or they would say the struggling phase of their life. But if I ask you a question, what is that one incident which changed you like anything? You become another person. That incident happened, boom, you become another person. You changed, you're focused, you're determined, you wanted to become the best, or the dream that you wanted to achieve. What is that statement? What is that one thing which you really wanted in your life? And is that struggling phase is making you to go after it, or is it saying to yourself, you know what, it is dominating you and saying you that you are not good enough on the end of the day? You want that to happen? Then it means that struggle is dominating you to a negative effect of limiting yourself, and it is making sure that you're just another ordinary person, and the struggle is not the right thing at that point for you to go through. And eventually it's not going through, but to understand struggle, you have made yourself understanding level in a different way. You understood it in a different way. It's okay, at some point you are going to come back. There's always a comeback. Struggling phase is always reminding you from the place where you have come. How far have you come? How many battles you have fought? How many things that you have to sacrifice that for that one moment of your dream. There could be a lot of self-doubts that could eventually occur during that struggling phase. Are you going to give up on your dream and eventually make struggle say that I got the better of you and you're not going to achieve your dream? So you want struggle to say this to you? If you say no, congratulations, you are on the right path of achieving your dreams. If you say I don't know, it may get better of me, or I could get better of struggle, you are in the middle phase of that path, so-called path. And remember, always, if that struggle tells you that I'm going to get better of you, just remember this: you have come so far in your life. And this is not philosophy that I'm speaking. Just remember that it's not a motivational thing. Please do not misunderstand this concept. This is very important, that I've seen so many people talk about this, and I really wanted to bring up this topic, that how my audience, my friends, that whoever is coming to this channel and getting the better of themselves, consuming this content and wanted to become the best. So the best thing that you can do is always think of struggle as your motivation point. You gotta say, I'm not gonna quit just because you have done these things to me, or this has happened in my life. The struggle is not going to define me. You are not going to define me. This is exactly what John Carpenter's father told John. John was super excited, was really astonished at the same time, that the struggle, that the tip point where it could make or break your entire life. It's not only professional life, it could be your personal life as well. There could be so many struggles, there could be so many challenges, there could be so many things which might make you feel that you are being crippled in your life. It doesn't matter, maybe you are doing good at your professional life, but in your personal life it's not being there. Just remember your this thing, that you have come so far, you have battled it, and the toughness that you had given, the fight to the struggle is eventually it's just a matter of time where you get the better of the struggle and you're going to go at it. So any you could take any of your role models, they will always say their story and their struggle on how they went through something to achieve their dream. You would have heard so many personal stories from your parents, from your grandmother, how they dealt with life, how they made sure that they come up and face those struggles. It is different for different people, but just remember, everybody is going through in a different way. So the question comes back to you, just like how John's father is asking John now. John, just remember, struggle is the most important thing to grow. It can also bring you down, but make sure that you say this to yourself and to the struggle who's trying to put you down. At that moment, I've come up this far in my life, and I'm not going to define you by making sure that I limit myself and I'm going to quit on my dream. There is no way. Instead, I'm going to use you as my motivation and grow big, and I'll achieve whatever I wanted to be and whatever I could, and become the best version of myself. And that is the most important thing for me, and you are the reason, and I thank you for that. This is the attitude that you need to have. There are times where you would go down, your energy level may be down. I understand that, but that shouldn't define you. This is the goal that I wanted to always say to you guys. Always, there could be so many things which could, come up to you out of nowhere. So at that moment, how are you going to deal with it? And what are the questions that you wanted to ask yourself? And the question that you ask and the answer, you get it or you find it out, there's always going to be another question. As I always tell in all the episodes almost, that there's always going to be that game of questions and answers, and you will always become better. And that is the most happiest thing that one can ever have, becoming better at yourself. And use this struggle as your motivation, and do not let it define your so-called life. That it shouldn't cripple you, and it shouldn't limit your dreams, and eventually it's gonna just make you feel just another ordinary person who just gave up his dreams, even though he battled for some time and he gave it up. So just be patient, trust on the process, use struggle as the motivation. That is the most important thing. With that being said, I wish you to have a fantastic weekend, fantastic Friday. Today it's Friday. See, I'm sweating every single episode now. You see me, I'm sweating. So my sister is already exhausted, but she has no other go. She's laughing there. So she was telling me before this episode started that she was exhausted, but she understood that this is the most important thing that we are doing. So it doesn't matter how exhausted that you feel you're in your life. Maybe I take some motivation from my sister as well. So this is not just for the video's sake, I mean it truly. So you could just find another person in your life who is working as hard as you, or who's working harder than you, and look at them. They would have struggled a lot more than you. See how they deal with those struggles and how they go about it and how they become better. That is the most important thing. This is called learning. This is real-time learning where nobody will teach you. You're gonna learn by yourself. And this is I'm just here to just tell you, these are the things you can go and reflect back, and you can become better. And I know that most of you will, and there is going to be a time where most of our subscribers are friends who grow big, and that is the most happiest thing that we really wanted to see, and that day is not far, and I know that for sure. So have a wonderful day, everyone. I'll see you in the next episode. See you guys. Bye.